easy go.
Ban.
Hello guys, welcome to Reese and Seb's pre-release presentation.
Ho ho ho.
This video presentation will talk about this year's pre-release on the ant simulation, and will explain the code, also talking about the issues with the code as well.
Yes.
So sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. Questions will be taken at the end.
No.
We asked ChatGPT to analyze the 2025 to 2026 AQA pre-release, and this is what it had to say.
Okay, let's go.
The program firstly creates the main menu system. This asks the user to choose a simulation setup between 1 and 4, which will define the grid size, number of nests, food amounts, and rate of pheromone decay. A simulation object with those parameters will then be created and will loop the main menu until the user quits. The menu contains the following options: display overall details, display area details, inspect a single cell, advance one stage, advance X stages, and quit. After this, the simulation class is created, which is the world where everything happens. The grid setup creates a grid of cell objects which can hold food, nests, ants, and pheromones. In nests, an initial nest is created, which will contain a queen ant and worker ants. Food will be randomly placed in cells around the grid, excluding nest grids. The ants will start in nests, but can move around, carry food, and leave pheromones, which will be followed when an ant grabs food to return to the nest. Pheromones decay each stage. The simulation class is also used to keep track of important responsibilities, such as the elements in every cell to be able to return it when called, and to be able to advance the simulation. The entity class handles individual cells in the grid, ants, nests, and pheromones. The ant class is abstract and has no specific methods, instead having parameters such as ID, life stages, and food carried. The ant class has subclasses of queen ant and worker ant. The queen ant can only stay in the nest, whereas the worker ant can travel and carry a maximum of 30 food. The nest class stores food supply and number of queens, consumes food each stage, and will cause either increase or decrease in ant population depending on the food amount. Finally, pheromones are linked to the ant that dropped it and have a strength decay rate, which can guide ants to and from food sources.
Okay, so for this part of the video, I'm going to be running through the ant simulation. In stage 1 here, we can see 3 food sources, in 1-1, 2-2, and 5-2 respectively. We can also see a nest containing 5 ants in 2-4. Let's move on a stage and see what these guys get up to. Okay, so in stage 2, we can see the ants have spread out, leaving the queen alone in the nest. There are now 2 ants directly below the nest in 3-4, an ant in 2-5, and one very close to the food in 1-3. Let's move on again and see what happens next. Okay, so we appear to have lost an ant, perhaps one of the 2 that was previously in cell 3-4. However, the ants have all moved, surprisingly including the one that was right next to the food.
You stupid!
No clue what he's playing at. But anyways, the food still remains untouched. Why don't we explore one of the functions of the program, display area details. As you can see here, I've selected a 4x4 area from the top left, only showing 2 of the 3 food sources now and 2 of the 4 ants. This function allows us to zoom in closer to smaller areas of the grid in case we don't want to look at it all. Let's now move on to stage 4. Okay, so at stage 4, we've gained another ant back. 2 ants have come back to the nest, and that ant from stage 2 is now hovering around the food where it was before. Let's move on to stage 5. All of the ants but one have now returned to the nest in stage 5, and the one not in the nest is sat directly between a food source and the nest in 2-3. Maybe something interesting will happen in stage 6. In stage 6, we see yet another new ant in 3-5. The same ant in 2-3 is still just waiting. Maybe he knows something we don't. Who knows? Let's use this stalled grid to try another function. Inspect cell. Here, we chose to inspect cell 2-4, which is shown to be the nest cell. In here, we have 4 ants as shown by the cell on the screen. However, an issue with the code is displayed here. Only 3 of the 4 ants that are shown to be in the nest have information displayed terminal. Perhaps this could be due to a list indexing issue. Anyway, in the nest, we can see 2 ant queens at 3 and 0 stages of life respectively. This means that the ant spawned this stage was the queen ant with index 6. We also see a worker ant with 3 stages lived and carrying 0 food. Absolute slacker behaviour. Let's move on to the next stage. Okay, this stage is looking much more promising. We have 2 more worker ants than last stage, clearly showing the nest has sufficient food source. Surprisingly, most of the ants seem to be staying very close to the nest, not really reaching far out, as all of the food is still untouched. I'm getting a bit bored with this at the moment, so I think it's time to showcase a new part of the simulation, Advance X stages.
2,000 years later.
So here, we decided to skip 10 stages forward, and we can see very little change, surprisingly. My best guess is that in the past 10 stages, ants have spawned and died, which would make a lot of sense since this wouldn't be the first time we've seen this happen. The ants seem to be spreading out a bit more now, and thankfully there is even one on the 5-2 food source.
So much later that the old narrator got tired of waiting and they had to hire a
10 stages later, everything is dead. Seems these ants were a bit useless. I mean, one of them managed to pick up some food, but it was clearly to no avail. Oh well, maybe better luck next time, I guess.